not necessarily those of radio station KMET, its management, employees, or affiliates.
What's happening, football fans? It is time to steer the line.
What else try to score?
With your host, Loud Esmond,
What?
Jeremy James.
Yeah.
With the best takes in NFL and football betting,
Change the channel so I don't
and the latest news. Get ready to steer the line.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another segment of Steer the Line. I'm here with our hosts, Loud Esmond, me, myself, Christian Giordani, and Jeremy James is back again from his cruise. How was your cruise, Jeremy?
It was nice, man. To actually get out of the cold weather that just started, go down to Mexico, and go swimming in the middle of November is pretty nice.
That's great.
I ate a lot of lobster.
Why the top of your head is sunburned.
Yeah, probably.
Well, that's great.
You gotta eat lobster when you're next to Riviera, that's for sure.
Also joining us today, we have Nick Smith from Suquamish Casino on the line.
Hey, everybody. How's everyone
Nick,
doing?
you there?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Good.
Yes,
good.
sir.
How is Thanksgiving weekend? Yes, we can. How is it running a sports book on Thanksgiving weekend? It's got to be
one of the
interesting.
biggest weekends of the year.
I bet.
Yeah.
You have the World Cup on top
a lot of
people.
people.
Yep, I think we're losing Lou.
So are there a lot of people that roll in? Are there a lot of people that roll in Thursday afternoon, sort of those families that do like an early Thanksgiving and show up and start betting?
For us, no. Wednesday is really the very busy day. And then Friday, like today, has been very busy, steady all day, and it's just going to roll in. Yesterday was like Thanksgiving Day was kind of almost like an average Thursday.
Yeah, and you said with the World Cup coming up, I really want to know the difference. What money's coming in more for Suquamish? Is it the 3 games for the NFL on Thanksgiving, or is it the World Cup money coming in?
Oh, it's still definitely the NFL for sure.
Yeah, it's what I always think. Everyone always says NFL is the king of betting, as Loud likes to say.
Yep.
Yeah, NFL is the king of all betting. But there's a lot of soccer fans in Seattle. So are you getting a significant amount of betting on the World Cup?
We are. And we actually just took our largest single wager in our book's history just earlier today on a World Cup game. So
that's amazing.
And what is that? How much? You don't have to tell us what the bet is.
I can't say what the wager is, but it is a six. It's in the 6 figures.
Okay, I'm not good at math. Is that $100,000 or more?
Yes.
Okay. So wow, that is now it's the closest sports book to Seattle, and there's like Microsoft and Google, and there's lots of places there where there's lots of people that are employed that have a lot of money. But I'm always amazed that I see people at the sports book that I think, man, can they really afford to bet $5,000? And usually they're really sharps. They're people who follow it very closely, and that's why they're betting the money, because they're really dialed in. Is there a greater percentage of large bets that win or lose in your experience, Nick?
I would feel like, in my experience, the larger bets normally win. The house makes their money off of the smaller, like, the Joes.
Yeah, the Joes and the Schmoes and James are who you make money off. Because it's always described as you have the squares, which are the vast majority of the bettors, and then you have the sharps, which are a small group of bettors who really know what they're doing. And they're not even looking at the same things we are. I like this team versus this team. There's some line advantage that they see, or somewhere where they think the book has made some kind of miscalculation, and they're trying to take advantage of that, or they see all the public money is over on one side, so they go play the contrarian bet. They're thinking on a whole different level than your average sports fan, right?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Which is why sports betting is for entertainment purposes. And all my stuff that I say on this show is for entertainment purposes only. Yeah. So the atmosphere there at Snoqualmie is just great. Obviously, that's where I do my betting. I really enjoy it. Your folks are super, super great to newbie bettors. I've noticed that they don't mind answering people's questions, which a lot of times sports books can be kind of tough places for beginners. But your folks do a really good job of handling people who are sort of questioning, well, what does this bet mean? There was a guy that I saw who was asking what a three-way bet was in soccer, which, of course, I went over in the video that I cut earlier this week about the World Cup. Do you specifically emphasize that with your folks?
Yes. I try to make it not be like a Las Vegas approach, because in Vegas we were pretty, you had to know what you were doing. You had to know the rotation number, the bet number, or else we'd ask you to go to the back of the line. And, we try to make it a lot more personable, a lot more friendly, try to create like a family environment.
Well, and even a guy like me that's been doing it for a long time really appreciates that because, well, I don't always have my S together when I get to the window. So there you go. Nick Smith, thank you very much for joining us from the Snoqualmie Casino Sportsbook, the closest sportsbook to Seattle. I'll see you next Friday, man.
All right, thanks, guys. Have a great holiday weekend.
You too. Have a great holiday weekend,
Nick.
Nick.
See you. I took one of the worst bad beats in my life yesterday. I had a pretty significant bet, and I had prognosticated that the Cowboys would win by 10. They were winning by 15 with 40 seconds left. Oh, Jeremy's laughing at me. You were watching that game?
We all know what's happening out here.
Yeah.
I was watching that game on Thanksgiving.
Are you kidding? I'm winning. I'm counting my money in my head. I've got that. Oh my God. And you know what really pissed me off? They called that personal foul on the Cowboys, the really Micah Parsons. You notice they never showed that replay of exactly what he was called for? Man, I don't want to get into tinfoil hat territory, but
it's a conspiracy against the NFL.
Yep.
They're trying to make him lose money.
Oh, boy.
No winning for you.
When you get in a space in your head like I am right now with all the bad breaks that have gone against me lately, just, yeah. All right, let's pick some games, shall we?
Okay, while I'm
Jeremy,
here, I want to get one out first for Rocky because
right.
he begged me to get this one out. He has Tampa Bay covering the spread -3.5 against Cleveland Browns. Said my piece for him. Now we can start.
Okay, well, I have the same thing.
All right, perfect.
And here's why. Tampa Bay looked like did Tampa Bay look like a completely different team than we've seen the rest of the season last week?
Yeah.
To me, definitely. They did. It was like, oh, where's this been? Well, why? They got Godwin back. They've gotten healthy. They've got some defensive players back, and they just looked more focused and more tight. Jeremy, how about you? Does Tampa Bay beat the Browns by 3 points or more?
Yeah, I think so. Like you said, they look a little better last week. Guys are getting healthy. There's some question about whether or not Fournette's going to play on Sunday or not. But, with them getting pieces back, it's a good time for them to do so as they try to make that, push for the playoff run, trying to win that division there. So, yeah, I like Tampa Bay as they've got more to play for than Cleveland even does at this point.
Interesting stat that I started taking a look at that's new to me reviewing because I didn't know it existed. But, you can actually look up teams' offense yards needed to gain per point and defensively what the other team needs to gain per point. Cleveland is dead last in the entire league Opposing teams only need to gain 13 yards per point to score against Cleveland, whereas the top teams in the league, Tennessee, Buffalo, and Dallas, you need to gain 18 or more yards per score. Christian, interesting or just gobbledygook?
It's interesting because, numbers like that are a form of sabermetrics. And for people who don't know what sabermetric is, it's basically a fancy term for the nitty stats of every aspect of a game. My freshman year of college, I wrote a 32-long thesis paper on sabermetrics. So I don't think stuff like that is insanely out of the realm. It gives you just a little bit of an edge to get a hand in betting or a hand in choosing a team to win. So, yeah, stuff like that isn't all crazy.
All right, Jeremy, the Raiders this weekend are in my neck of the woods. They're about 90 miles from me on Sunday to take on the Seahawks.
Seahawks.
Your thoughts on how that game?
You're not going to the game?
No, man. You know me. I like to stay at home, and I've got leftover ham. I've got leftover turkey. I've got stuffing. I've got all kinds of stuff. So I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to be here and eat, and not be out in the cold and the rain by my fireplace with my dog. I'm good. Raiders and Seahawks. What are your thoughts?
This is one of those games. I don't know exactly which way it's going to go. The Seahawks have been playing well, surprising a lot of people. But I think they're, a beatable team. They're not one of the top teams in the NFL right now. I know they're, right in the playoff hunt, but I think they're beatable. Whether the Raiders are going to be able to pull anything together on the road, we'll have to wait and see. But I'm a homer, so I'm going to have to stick with my boys pulling out another win here. But I'm not going to be surprised if the Seahawks, beat them up.
What do you think of that crazy former Raiders receiver that was there for like a cup of coffee and screwed up Hard Knocks and then left, betting a bunch of money that the Raiders would beat the Broncos and then giving Derek Carr crap after the game? What's his name? Antonio something?
Yeah.
Antonio Brown?
Kanye West's best friend, Antonio Brown.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what that was about? I didn't hear much about that.
Yeah, that whole kerfuffle was interesting. All right. Interesting number for me in this game. Seattle only needs 13.7 yards to score a point in the NFL. They are by far and away one of the top teams. They're number 2. The top teams are Atlanta at 13.3, Seattle 13.7, Dallas 13.8, Cincinnati 13.8, and Philly 14.1, followed by Baltimore, Kansas City, and Detroit, Minnesota, and then Buffalo. That metric, Christian, means you don't need to gain many yards to score points.
Right.
And that's a good thing, right?
Yeah, it's a great thing.
As a layman and other, hold on, I need the guy who wrote a thesis paper to explain this a little better. I do not understand this.
Yards
what this means,
point, Christian.
Okay, say it one more time, Lou. Loud. Explain.
Yards gained. Yards needed to be gained per point on offense, and you want a low number. In other words, the lower the number of yards you have to gain per point scored, the more efficient your offense is. You're doing more scoring with less yards gained.
Yes. That is the simple way to explain it. I don't want to go on a 30-minute rant. My thesis paper on sabermetrics was mostly pointed to sporting and baseball, football, basketball, American sports. But it is...
All right, let me put it this way. Jeremy, you ever watch the team go up and down the field, and every time they get into the red zone, they stall, turn it over, or have to kick a field goal?
The Raiders, yes.
That team would have to gain a lot more yards per point than another team. In other words, they're not a very efficient offense. The more yards you have to gain per point, the less efficient you are on offense. the more yards teams have to gain against you to score, the better you are on defense. And by the way, the number one team in the NFL is the Tennessee Titans in that category. Teams have to gain 18.9 yards against them in order to score a point. Right behind them is the Buffalo Bills, which is why I have the Titans with the outright win with the Bengals coming into town this weekend. And, oh, yeah, the Bengals don't have Joe Mixon. Christian.
Yeah, without Joe Mixon and Jamar Chase, it's going to be a really hard game for them to win. Tennessee's defense, whether even though it's mid-tier in the league, I don't know their exact ranking, it's still good enough to go against the Bengals' very, very poor offensive line. And Joe Burrow is going to...
The Tennessee Titans make you work harder than any other team in the NFL to score a point.
Yes. But going on sabermetrics back, the Cincinnati Bengals are the best team in the NFL with scores per snap, which is basically the least amount of snaps they have to take per score. So a fast-paced offense is a really good team. It's a really hard team to defend. But without a guy like Joe Mixon and Jamar Chase, it's going to be tough for them to win.
Jamar Chase is supposed to play.
Oh, is he going back?
That just came out.
Yeah, but he's whether he's 100% and also – I think losing Joe Mixon is huge.
Yeah, Joe Mixon.
That's a massive loss for their team. And if you just look at the numbers, Tennessee's at home. Tennessee is the best team against the spread in the NFL this season. They're 8-2. So I'm not. If you're going to give Tennessee points at home, I'm taking Tennessee. So we got Tennessee. Bengals, I say Titans +3. Christian?
Titans +3. You know what? I'm gonna stay away from this one. It's a weird game to call because you don't know if Jamar Chase is gonna come back or not fully. If they're gonna fully utilize the offense.
But the question is he fully healthy?
Is he gonna be fully utilizing the offense?
Titans +3 or Bengals -3?
You know, I even without the run game, I think I like the Bengals in this one. I'm not entirely sure why I say that. One of those feelings. I'm just, no matter how good Tennessee is, I just never truly believe in that team.
You know what? Right now, you would be money ahead betting against every bet I place. So, good for you. Tampa -3 at the Browns. We all like that, right?
3.5 now, but yeah, I like Tampa as well.
Oh, see, okay. Now, here's something that, just going to put it out there. I always bet the hook down. The hook is that half point. You can buy points when you do a bet.
Yes.
So right now it's -3.5 and probably -105 to -110. If you buy the half point to get it to -3, you're probably going to pay -120 to -130. I'm going to buy the half point and win less money back so that I don't lose on the hook. And Jeremy is confused.
That's why I don't bet.
Okay. Yeah. Seahawks, Raiders. Jeremy likes the Raiders +3.
I like the Seahawks.
I like the Seahawks -3. The game I am there's two games I am most confident in this weekend. Number one is the Philadelphia Eagles against the Green Bay Packers. I looked at all these numbers, points needed to score versus points that the offense needs to score, and the biggest spread of any game this weekend is, by the way, 7.2 to the positive in favor of Philadelphia against Green Bay. It's -6.5, less than a touchdown. Christian, where's this game being played?
In Philadelphia.
Boom!
Yeah, Philadelphia wins this game.
Solid lock. Philadelphia wins by more than 6.5 against Green Bay. Bet the house.
Should I trade for Eckler for Barkley and Waddle? My wide receiver in Kirk Amon. RA is my flex to C. Watson and my RBs are Eckler. Pierce, I'm 6 and 5. Jeremy, this is for you. You're the fantasy guy.
Yeah. Yeah, I would do it. You can put Waddle in that wide receiver spot, and you can flex Kirk, get all three of those wide receivers in there, and you're not going to lose much going from Eckler to Barkley. So I would make that trade.
All right. But yeah, back to
right.
the Green Bay, Philadelphia.
Philly,
I completely
Green Bay
agree.
-6.5. Christian?
Yeah, Philadelphia hammers them down.
Jeremy?
Yeah, Philly's game. Green Bay is just silly this year.
If it was in Lambeau, I would say differently, but no.
Yeah.
49ers are -9.5 against the Saints. I love the 49ers in this game.
I don't know how I feel about this.
Okay, it's at Santa Clara. They don't play in San Francisco, okay? They don't, people. They play in a suburb called Santa Clara, which has as much in common with Candlestick Park as, I do with Brad Pitt, okay? So just a completely different thing. Old Candlestick Park was great. I saw a bunch of games there, Giants games and 49ers games. It was wet. It was cold all of the year. The wind blew weird. It was nasty. It was hard to get to. It smelled. Parts of the stadium were shifting. Damn, they should have kept playing there. It was like playing football or baseball at Alcatraz. It was so awesome to go there for games. And now they play in this homogenized, boring stadium in Santa Clara. It's just awful.
It is a boring stadium.
It's very,
It's like bad pancakes at IHOP. 49ers -9.5. The 49ers are going to beat the Saints by 20.
I don't know. I can't get that spread.
Andy Dalton is playing quarterback.
He's still better than Jameis Winston.
The 49ers defensive line will sack him 8 times is my prediction. They're going to get ahead, and they will just crush him repeatedly. Jeremy.
Yeah, I think the Niners are going to win this game, but 9.5 seems like a lot to me. I don't know. For some reason, I think the Saints keep it closer than that. They've been playing better ball recently, even with Andy Dalton. I think they keep it close.
Yeah, I agree. I can't see that margin being that big in this game.
Deebo Samuel, Christian McCaffrey,
George Kittle. Yeah, they're all star power, but it all depends on Jimmy Garoppolo. He's hit or miss every week.
Did you see what Garoppolo did last week?
And you see what he did 3 weeks before?
Oh my gosh,
it's the same. He's hit or miss. He's never consistent.
I think this offense is now teams get to the halfway point, and then they either ascend or descend. The 49ers are ascending, and the Saints are descending. All right, Jeremy, big question. I'm seeing all kinds of rumors about Derek Carr and his future with the Raiders. You're our Raiders insider. Where is Derek Carr's future?
Yeah, this is a tough one, and I have been talking about this with a number of different people online and whatnot. I have a feeling that they move on from Carr next season. Whether or not they release him or trade him is the big question. He's been on record on national TV multiple times saying
he has a no trade, Jeremy.
Yes, he does.
He has a no trade clause.
He has a no trade clause, and he has said he would rather retire than play for anybody else. But, he's going to be heading into his 10th season next year, and maybe they find a great situation that he's into and they can talk him into a trade. If so, they trade him off and get something for him. If not, they can cut him and only have like $5 million in dead money against the cap.
I would love to see Man Bun Rodgers in the black and silver.
Well, that's the thing. I think they're going to go grab an old guy. They're going to go grab an old guy. They're going to grab Rodgers, or they've already been those rumblings of Tom Brady.
I love Brady there too.
They're going to go get an old guy for a year or two, and they're going to draft a quarterback either this year or next year. But I think that they're going to feel they can move on from Carr, put up what they feel is a better quarterback in there, and win now instead of relying
Here's
on
the problem with
a
all
rookie
of this
quarterback.
that I see. Devontae Adams came to Las Vegas to play with Derek Carr. Derek Carr has a no-trade clause. I think you have to move both at the same time to the same team, or you don't get a deal. Because Carr will just say no.
And then they cut him, and he retires, and you still have one of the best receivers in the league.
If they cut him, he'll go to another team for less.
That's the thing. I don't know if he will or not.
There's 16 teams in the NFL that suck at quarterback. We went through this last week. You weren't here.
Yeah.
Jeremy, half the NFL has crap at quarterback.
1 minute.
And there's only 3 or 4 guys coming into the draft that can play.
Yeah.
What?
He should continue his career. It would be dumb of him to walk away, but he said it so many times at this point, you have to wonder if he means it.
I don't think he does. He's a class act, and I think he'll find a situation where he'll thrive in another team. You know, a lot of guys say they won't play if they don't get traded, and it's usually BS. It's smoke up.
All right, team most likely for Derek Carr to go to, Christian.
Green Bay, straight up trade Aaron Rodgers with draft capital. Derek Carr with draft capital for Aaron Rodgers.
Jeremy,
you gotta follow his brother to Houston. You're gonna be a Houston Texan.
I don't mind it.
Derek Carr goes and does a Drew Brees in New Orleans and wins 3 straight Super Bowls.
I can also see him going to Tennessee. Tennessee would be a great fit.
They got the young kid. I think they want him.
Malik
All right,
Willis,
Christian,
he's not
take
going to
us
be
out.
much. All right, everyone, listen to Steer the Line on KMT 1490 AM. Thank you very much. Unfortunately, we're not doing a second half hour, so we'll see you guys next week.